It is officially about the 49ers building a bridge to get this back to Fred Warner. The star linebacker was on the practice field today, but not participating, all part of San Francisco's plan. He has officially been ruled out of Saturday's showdown against the Seattle Seahawks. But if the 49ers can find a way to win this game, it looks good for Fred Warner and his potential availability in an NFC championship game.
You feel more confident than ever with Fred that he's put himself in a position to be available a week from now?
Yes, I do feel confident in that. We'll see if it works out.
And that NFC title game is what the 49ers have been aiming for all along with Fred Warner's return. As soon as it became clear that he was going to beat the original timeline by a huge amount. Fred had been trying to make it happen this week, and we heard in some of his comments that he was defiant on the timeline that the 49ers had put in place just last week. They weren't even planning to open the practice window this week, but they did open it earlier. They did get Fred out there, and he made an immense contribution to this team. Remember that in Week 18, the 49ers did not practice at full speed a single time because they were so exhausted coming off of the Indianapolis trip and the Chicago short week and the marathon of a game that Bears contest was. They just practiced under the lights, walk-through status, and I think that they paid for it against the Seattle Seahawks. This week, at least in theory, the 49ers were even more tired than they were in Week 18 because they had to go to Philadelphia and come back on the short week, but they badly needed to change something from Week 18 because whatever they did that week didn't work against the Seattle Seahawks. They badly needed to get a full-speed practice in. So they essentially used Fred Warner as a spark plug on Thursday to get that much-needed full-speed session in. And that contribution in and of itself, massive for San Francisco. And now they roll with Eric Kendricks at the Mike linebacker position, with either Garrett Wallow or D. Winters, who was back at practice the past 2 days at the weak side linebacker position. They're going to look like a different team than they did in Week 18 on the defensive side of the ball because of these new additions. And they're going to have Marquise Siegel in at the safety position with Jair Brown having been ruled out. But the energy level that Fred Warner has already been able to bring the 49ers this week is massive. Trent Williams talked about that earlier this week, and now the 49ers roll forward trying to build that official bridge back to Fred Warner's return in a potential NFC championship game. Talked to Ricky Pearsall in the locker room today, and Ricky says that he's confident, still very optimistic that he's going to play for the 49ers on Saturday. Remember that the math changes when Ricky Pearsall is out there. And Ricky is someone who was available in that Week 1 game for the 49ers against the Seahawks when they controlled affairs statistically. They went on several long drives. They actually missed 2 field goals in that game. Jake Moody was still the kicker for the 49ers, and that was the only reason that it was close. Then in Week 18, it was the Seahawks who missed 2 field goals and statistically dominated the 49ers. So you could say that the 2 field goals missed by Seattle are the only reason that the game was somewhat close on the scoreboard. Week 1 featured Pearsall. Week 18 didn't feature Ricky Pearsall. So the geometry worked for the 49ers in Week 1 against this great Seahawks defense, and it didn't work in Week 18. The fact that they have Ricky back, it looks like they will. He's officially listed as questionable because he's dealing with the PCL that's not going to fully heal until he has a full runway for recovery over the course of the offseason. So Ricky playing through pain right now, probably not up at full speed. He said that he hasn't hit his GPS time since he initially suffered the injury in Week 4. But if they can get him back for this game, they have a lot better chance of playing this game outside of the 15 to 20 yard box that really constricted them against Seattle in Week 18. At the end of his interview, and you could catch the full thing at the end of this video, Ricky Pearsall said FGK for George Kittle. Though obviously the star tight end's Achilles injury motivating the 49ers to continue plowing forward in what has already been a season of tremendous resilience. Now, good news on the Kittle front. His surgery went very well, according to Kyle Shanahan. And Shanahan said that Kittle is going to have a chance to beat the old school Achilles tear timeline by a significant amount. Achilles tears had usually been 9 to 12 month injuries, and usually over a year for a player to recover full explosiveness. The technology continues to improve, and although it's not at the level of an ACL tear, which has become almost a garden variety injury for professional athletes, an Achilles tear is no longer a career death sentence. And the fact that George Kittle's surgery went well is massively good news for the 2026 49ers. They're already going to use Kittle as an emotional and psychological boost playing for George Kittle in this game at Seattle, but you do have to think about how San Francisco sets up in 2026 and beyond. Kittle's going to be 33 years old next season. He's still under contract for several more years, but you wonder if the 49ers will have to sign a tight end over the course of the offseason. And if they believe that Kittle's rehab gets off to a very good start and that he's trending toward being available for week 1 or close to week 1 of the 2026 season, maybe they don't have to invest quite as much in that position. They've got Jake Tonjes on this football team. They could find a way to keep him around. And of course, we expect the 49ers to invest big time in that wide receiver position. That's something that is a must, given the fact that Brandon Ayuk is MIA, given the fact that Ricky Pearsall has struggled to stay on the field for this team. Ricky's going to have a chance to make a big-time reliability statement on Saturday, but even then, it looks like the 49ers will want to bolster that wide receiver position because they have struggled so much in the separation department when they've been down guys this season. And it's only fair to Brock Purdy, and it's only fair to the team and to the franchise to make sure that your superstar quarterback has room to work with. Speaking of that superstar QB, Brock Purdy has never lost in Seattle. He is 4-0, including a couple wins over Mike Macdonald teams in 2024, early in the Mike Macdonald tenure, and in 2025, week 1, where Brock Purdy did make it work. Thanks a lot to Ricky Pearsall, had massive catches early, a massive catch late, and obviously thanks to Jake Tonjes. And the Seattle Seahawks, if there's one weakness in this defense statistically, it is their struggles against the tight end position. Number 18 DVOA covering tight ends. So Purdy has his work cut out for him, but he's already gotten the job done in Seattle. And Kyle Shanahan talked a bit about his ability to head into hostile territory and give the 49ers a true sense of ease.
I think the big thing is Brock doesn't get rattled. I mean, you can be as loud as you want. They're still probably not going to hear you there, especially if you're in the gun. And then we know they'll be that much louder this week. But I think it's nothing really rattles Brock. He stays the same. As you guys got to know Brock in all the situations, I don't think when you guys talk to him, whether he's had a good game, a bad game, I don't think he ever seems much different. He's always Brock, and you feel that on the sidelines throughout a game. I mean, you felt that last week. That's what I thought was so impressive, having that interception with like 8 minutes to go and we lose the lead, and the way he came back and played the next drive after that is the perfect example of that's what I mean by, like, you can kind of see people's character, what type of people they are on the silent tape. And a guy who can act like that on that silent tape describes exactly the type of dude he is.
This is a classic deep water game, and the 49ers have the better quarterback. By deep water, I mean the Seattle Seahawks have analytically been the better team, especially since the 49ers have lost so much due to injuries. But since the 49ers are stronger at the most important position, they can be confident in the outcome of this game if they can find a way to take Seattle to deep water, to make this game close in the fourth quarter. San Francisco as a team did not do that well enough in Week 18. So even though Brock Purdy played well, all that was around him was not enough, and the 49ers couldn't make it close at the very end. So bring Seattle to deep water, then you let Purdy and his stability in these crazy environments and that 4-0 record in Seattle truly shine, and that's when the 49ers will have a chance to potentially win this game. Now, in Seattle, Sam Darnold is listed as questionable. That popped up today, an oblique issue. He was videotaped heading onto the practice field with a Theragun. Now, he wasn't tending to his oblique with a Theragun, he was tending to his shoulder. But Seahawks offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak, the brother of 49ers offensive coordinator Clay Kubiak, who once was with the San Francisco staff, said that Drew Lock, who is the Seahawks backup, did get some reps today in practice. But Sam then said that he just reported the oblique as a precautionary issue and he does expect to play. Kyle Shanahan said that this doesn't change anything about how the 49ers will prepare. They've gotten most of the preparation in. In fact, I would also extend that to the Fred Warner situation. If Seattle thought that there might be a chance that Fred Warner would play over the last few days, that's a win for the 49ers. But the preparation at this point is essentially finished. So the 49ers can rule Fred Warner out, and it doesn't really change anything as far as derailing Seattle's plans. If they made the Seahawks dedicate an extra 5 minutes or an extra 5 hours of time to preparation because of a potential Fred Warner return over the course of this week, that battle had already been won, and that is a check mark of success in the 49ers column. This Sam Darnold injury news doesn't change anything for the 49ers preparation because it's already in the books. But if he somehow isn't able to play, obviously that is a big swing toward the 49ers. And even if he is able to play, Sam Darnold is going to be in the spotlight in this game. It's about the 49ers bringing him into deep water and saying, Sam, will you sink or will you swim? Last season's playoffs indicated that the danger is there for the Seattle Seahawks, that Sam Darnold might sink in that kind of deep water moment. But he has been playing really good football this year. I know that it's dropped off for the Seahawks offensively. I know that their offense has been carried by their defense and their run game. I mean, we've seen all of this. It's just a matter of the 49ers putting this game in position so that Purdy has a platform to shine and be better than Darnold. And I think that the 49ers believe, and the 49ers are right, if they think that they have the better quarterback in this football game. Schedule coming up. The 49ers do not travel today because it is not a Central or Eastern time zone game. They will not leave Levi Stadium until about 1:30 tomorrow. Buses will take them down to San Jose Airport, and then the team charter will fly up to Seattle. Then it will be all about the final 24 hours of preparation before this big game at 5 o'clock on Saturday night. We will learn the 49ers roster moves on Saturday because it is a short week. They don't have to submit those tomorrow, so those will not come until a few hours ahead of game time. If there is any added news, then it's going to come tomorrow, but we're going to focus on creating something cool for you guys tomorrow in the day gap between 49ers practice and then this showdown in the playoffs against the Seattle Seahawks. Your hint as to Friday's content? Well, it's about the bridge. 49ers are officially trying to finish the beautiful bridge back to Fred Warner, and they can do that on Saturday night in Seattle.
KB, his energy. But yeah, those guys, that's, just experience that's really been through it, been through injuries, been through tough times like this, and they've all been through it, give me, tips and things to think about and how to stay positive, and then also, ways to work through it and to get back right. So shout out to all those guys.
What's been the toughest part about this injury? Accelerating, decelerating?
That part?
Yeah.
I was going to say the toughest part is just being in and out, bro. Like, that's probably the toughest part is, like, it just lingering around. It's one of those injuries that it's not going to heal up until I'm fully rested and done, and I can't do that right now, obviously, so just getting it back to being manageable. But yeah, just any explosive movements, honestly.
What's your confidence level that you will play on Saturday?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident. I've been through every practice this week. Yeah, you guys saw me practicing last week, but if you really saw me practicing, I couldn't really lift up my leg, very well. So I know I was trying to get back, but this week it gave me a little bit more of optimism that I'm going to be playing this week, and yeah, I'm getting more confident.
To kind of follow up on that, is there any obstacle, a mental obstacle that you have to kind of get over to just play mindless football out there, being that you've had to be in and out with this injury?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, when you just are feeling pain over and over again, and then you have an injury that's lingering, yeah, you got to kind of work through that confidence thing and get it back. But that just comes down to, how good can you get it to be feeling in the training room, and then when you step on the football field, excuse my language, say fuck and go, you know what I mean? So that's just been my mindset is every time I step on the field, and then, doing everything I can in the training room.
Do you feel Fred Warner's energy out there as well, even just on the offensive side?
Yeah, I've been feeling his energy, honestly, ever since he started rehab. He's one of those leaders in the locker room that you're going to hear every single day. He's keeping the guys up, the energy up, and when he steps on the football field, you're going to know for sure. KB was talking about it yesterday. He got in the huddle to break everybody down, and everybody was just locked in on him, and hearing everything he's got to say, amping us up before we had to go out there for practice. So
Kyle said that George sent a pretty funny photo to his wife post-surgery. Have you guys been able to text or talk with him, or
Yeah,
what's
we
the
were.
communication?
Yeah, we were on FaceTime a little bit yesterday. He was playing a little bit of video game. He's playing Arc Raiders, a new video game, and I was just checking on him, see how he's doing, and he seems to be in some good spirits right now. But that's George, man. He's able to get through anything. You know, that energy, just him being himself. You know, that's something that I really admire and take from him. You know, he's always positive. You know, and shout out to him, man. He's been a huge part of my career already. And yeah, he sent some funny photos to me already. But he always does that, so that's no surprise.
How much of seeing that, though, helps you kind of push past whatever you might be dealing with to go out there and just play?
You know, seeing that, you talking
Seeing
about?
all the resilience from Fred to
Yeah.
Kittle to, I mean, so many guys in the locker room coming back from these injuries and just playing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, all those guys are super inspiring, you know, to me. And we play a football game, or we play the game of football where we're just gonna have to work through injuries no matter what. Like nobody, if you ask in this locker room, nobody's probably feeling good at all. Nobody in the league's probably feeling good at this point in time in the season, and so it's about who just go out there and work through it, and you know, continue to make plays and play at their speed, and you know, that's just something that I'm doing right now. And you know, obviously I got something else going on, it's my knee, and I play receiver, so I gotta, you know, still find a way to work through it. And yeah, all those guys are inspiring, but they ain't really nuts. You know what I'm saying? Mentally.
Does this locker room relish the idea of being an underdog in a championship game or something like this?
Yeah, see, you know, me being here and getting drafted, like I didn't really hear none of that, none like the underdog talks at all, and so you know, it's definitely an interesting conversation to hear now, but you know, we like it. You know, if we're the underdogs, we go out there and play fast, you know, we're gonna shock them. So, you know, I'm excited to get out there, and you know, I've always been an underdog in my life, so you know, I'm excited. I'm used to it.
Thanks, Ricky.
FGK for George Kittle.
A little bit. That's when I was confident, knew I was ready to play.
How much has the game slowed down since you played in Seattle week 1 for you?
I'd say it slowed down a lot. I guess I was able to see a lot more because I was able to make a lot of plays. But I feel it's been the same from my mindset. Obviously, I developed more. I've seen more now. So, yeah, I'll say it slowed down a little bit for me.
Who'd you lean on during this journey, kind of up and down, you starting and then not, and then back in it?
I'll say Tig. Tig's been the biggest influence. Malik, looking up to them. I'll say Chase Lucas for him stepping up in big time moments when Stout went down. I told him a lot that I looked up to him when he did that, and I was like, I admire you for that. And so I got that opportunity in Philly, and it was the same likewise.
You're taking a step back offensively, where you could kind of watch film but not be thrown into the fire as much in the middle portion. Did that help you at all?
I'm not gonna say it helped me or didn't help me, but I felt it was needed. I'm happy that it happened. Just because we got the win last week, it helped me develop, I'll say. But I don't really have that answer for you.